Good morning, traders. Just a very quick update. Uh, we are looking at financial juice. We've got some market moving events happening later on today, and I'll tell you why that's very important in a couple of minutes. I'm going to keep this short and sweet, but we've got US initial jobless claims. Obviously, anything related to employment will always be an issue, always be a consideration when looking at interest rate decisions. US GDP, Q on Q, that's going to be a big one, as well as Europe, US durable goods. So we can expect some volatility on the US equities market and therefore cryptocurrency or Bitcoin at about 2:30 Central European time. So keep that in mind. Then let's go back to the charts. Over here, we have, let's start off with Bitcoin. Let me bring this down here. You can see that we had a little bit of a sell-off. Again, as I mentioned yesterday, a little bit concerned about this little wick here. We still caught underneath this 50 EMA on the daily chart. And if we look on the 4-hour, we also seem to be a little bit underneath the 200 period, but that's on the 4-hour, not the daily. On the daily, we're still above the 200-day moving average. Either way, this looks relatively bearish, but we are in this ascending support line as well, still at this level right now. Suppose when you put the fundamentals or news releases that are expected later on today together with where we are in the markets, again, it's one of those scenarios where you can either go up or down. We could have a scenario where if there's a big shock to the downside, that can give you a solid break below. This will initiate a whole lot of liquidations, as well as the trading bots, the automated trading bots might also see that as bearish, start selling, and we could stop drifting lower to about 106, 105 or thereabout. That being said, anything positive could keep us above this area, and we could continue to make our way up. Either way, I believe that the volatility in the markets will be triggered by the news happening later on at 2:30 Central European time. Now, you may have noticed that I now have 3 positions open. So we have Solana and Drift, where we were beforehand, but we've also got Radium. Now, you may be asking the question, Alan, what are you doing? We've only got allowance at this tier for either 2 altcoins or BTC and altcoins, or only 2 positions, $5 each. Now, the reason why I'm able to go into a third position is because this does not say how many positions I can have open. It says how much risk I can allocate to whatever. So if I have a position that is risk-free, I can then allocate that risk to a third position. So we did that, or at least I did that yesterday, by, if we go through to Drift, you can see over here, we shot up. Just 1 second. We shot up there. And then what I did was I moved the stop loss that was down here to my entry point. So we had a nice move up from I believe just between just under 70 cents all the way up to 85 cents, which is a nice 23% move. We now got this support over here. If this carries on going higher, great. We've also got the retracements. If we look at them, we're bouncing off at the 0618 retracement. So there's a few things holding us up. Either way, I was able to bring our risk all the way up, which means that I've now released that risk. I'm risk-free. We are still on the lower category because, again, our account's only 2271. So I was able to allocate that $5. Well, it was $14 that we had applied to Drift. We then reduced that risk down to 0, but because we have gone down to $22, we're now on the first rung again. So I was only able to allocate $5 to our Radium position. So we got into Radium last night. Bitcoin going up. So I thought this would be a good place to get in, round about 2.78. Again, you can see underneath here. Let's have a look. From there down to our stop loss is about $9. Now, how are we going to trade this? We're on this level here. We could snap down to there and then go higher. Equally, because we haven't hit this support yet, we could go down to these levels and quickly go up, because then we'll just get a wick on, say, the 4 hour down to there, and then we will make our way up. Either way, we could get stopped out. Therefore, what I think we should do, and what we might do, is as we go closer to 2:30 Central European Time, I'm going to be keeping an eye on drift. Now, if drift keeps on going up, fine, but I might cut this position, which means that if I'm cutting the position, I'm then allocating about $8 to my account. That's $22, bring it up to $30. Now, because it's $30, that puts us up into this account category right here, and we can allocate $14.25 each to our two positions that are holding risk. Just remember, we can add to them because we've gone up to the next rung, and what that will mean, let me just go back to here. It'll mean that our liquidation level for Solana, we will push all the way down here because we're adding a capital to that position, or a margin to that position, which will mean our liquidation level will come down, and we can then move our stop loss all the way down. The same thing for Radium. Radium, again, we got in there, we can get stopped there. Just before we go into the decision at 2:30, we might want to push down our liquidation and our stop loss below this support line. Now, let's just say that drift is doing well. We want to keep on to it. Just remember, it's now a risk-free position. We can also get our stops nice and close here, saying that, you know what, I don't want to actually keep this position. If it wicks down, we can always grab it, get it on the bounce back up, which is also fine, right? So we're either going to give it more room to move, or we're going to say that if it does wick down, we're just going to cut that position. We'll have to see how drift reacts going into the decisions, but that is the updated position. Now open 3 positions. We're long Radium, long Solana, and long drift. We are 0 risk on drift, and our remaining 2 positions here are going, well, our 2 risk allocations are on Solana and Radium. Good luck, traders. Have a great day.